and I have the honor of serving as the president of GLUNA and being your host tonight. Hold your applause, please. As you have looked over the program, I think you can see that we have a wonderful evening planned for you. When I say we, I'm speaking of the planning team, and if they will wave as I mention their names, Lynn and Tom Bartley, Lisa Berg, John Metzler, and also unable to be with us, Samantha Dillon. Several other GLUNA, I'm getting there. Hey, what's this heckling from the crowd already? Man, it's a tough group. Anyway, there are several other GLUNA board members who have been helpful as well, particularly Hakan Yildiz and Dave Wiley. And if the other board members that are here this evening, if you would wave your hands, I'd appreciate it. Let people see you. Thank you all for your help. I'll tell you, it's a wonderful board and they keep me really busy. Anyway, please give, I also am very grateful to our co-host of this evening's program, MSU International Studies and Programs. Their contributions have been invaluable. In addition, this evening's program is co-sponsored by Lattice, which stands for Linking All Types of Teachers to International Cross-Cultural Education. Also, the MSU African Studies Center, MSU Asian Studies Center, MSU Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies, and the Lansing Area Peace Education Center. Please join me in giving these wonderful co-sponsors a warm round of applause. One of the amazing programs that MSU has participated in for the past 20 years is the Humphrey Fellows, is the Hubert H. Humphrey Fellows Program. It is a Fulbright exchange program that brings accomplished mid-career professionals from developing countries to the United States for a year of study, professional development, and networking. Present with us this evening are this year's Humphrey Fellows, and I am going to ask them to stand as I introduce them. They include Alamehu Lamor of Ethiopia, Ali Sharwan of Yemen, Anar Pashajanov of Azerbaijan, Laurentine Nzi Zabira from Burundi, Garba Hamadou of Niger, Gertrude Basima of Uganda, Rishal Prasad of Fiji, Maria Florencia Callados of Argentina, Muhammad Abid Azam of Pakistan, Hyuntaek Yoon of South Korea, Konstantina Khaled Shiva of Bulgaria, and Sundus Asif of Pakistan. I've had a chance to meet these folks and they are so interesting, and I really encourage you to take the time also to get to know them a bit. And we'll have time after the meal and after the program to mingle, and so take some time and get to know them. The theme for this evening is Nourishing Peace. It is our hope that you will learn and personally experience how this evening's awardees and performers are nourishing the bodies, minds, and souls of others in many ways that foster peace. You will meet 3 outstanding community leaders, a dedicated educator, 3 globally conscious students, and an internationally accomplished medical researcher. And for your entertainment, we have 2 unique, mentally and emotionally provoking performers. I suggest you hold on to your hats. It's going to be an exciting evening. To start us off, we have a thoughtful message from the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres.
The United Nations is the product of hope. Hope and resolve following the Second World War to move beyond global conflict to global cooperation. Today, our organization is being tested like never before. But the United Nations was made for moments like these. Now more than ever, we need to bring to life the values and principles of the UN Charter in every corner of the world. By giving peace a chance and ending conflicts that jeopardize lives, futures, and global progress. By working to end extreme poverty, reduce inequalities, and rescue the Sustainable Development Goals. By safeguarding our planet, including by breaking our addiction to fossil fuels and kickstarting the renewable energy revolution. And by finally balancing the scales of opportunity and freedom for women and girls and ensure human rights for all. As we mark UN Day, let us renew our hope and conviction in what humanity can achieve when we work as one in global solidarity.
As the Secretary General emphasized, the UN works on many fronts to meet global challenges. It also facilitates everyday activities requiring global cooperation. In addition to the UN's 6 principal organs, like the General Assembly and Security Council, there are dozens of programs and funds, research institutions, commissions, and specialized agencies. We thought we would spotlight a few of them for you now. So please come forward. We'd like to spotlight a few of these agencies.
IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, works for the safe and peaceful use of atomic energy.
UN Women focuses exclusively on gender equality and women's empowerment.
UPU, Universal Postal Union, establishes international relations for postal services while providing technical assistance in corporation and postal matters.
UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, promotes education for all, cultural development, protection of the world's natural and cultural heritage, international cooperation in science, press freedom, and communication.
IMO, International Maritime Organization, works to improve safe shipping procedures and reduce marine pollutions by ships.
WHO, World Health Organization, coordinates programs involving health problems and helping people to attain the highest possible level of health.
UNHCR, Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees, aids and protects forcibly displaced communities and stateless people and assists in their voluntary reparation. local integration or resettlement to a third country. Oh, sorry about that. Repatriation. Sorry.
IFAD is the International Fund for Agriculture and Development, mobilizes financial resources to raise food production and nutrition levels in developing countries.
WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, facilitates the sharing of weather information worldwide to assist aviation, shipping, security, and agriculture.
WFP, World Food Program, the largest humanitarian organization using food assistance to build a pathway to peace, stability, and prosperity for people recovering from conflict, disasters, and the impact of climate change.
ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, sets international safety, security, and efficiency standards for all areas of civil air transportation.
ILO, International Labor Organization, formulates policies and procedures to improve working conditions and opportunities worldwide.
And as I said, these are just a few of the programs and other things that the UN does. If we didn't have a UN, we'd have to invent one because we could not do everything we do in this world without it. Now, I am very excited to introduce our first performer, Crispin Mahuna. Crispin is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He fled his country in the wake of ongoing conflict, and after several years in a refugee camp in Uganda, Crispin was granted asylum in the US and soon will be a United States citizen. He finds joy in writing and performing his music for audiences like us. He is performing in Nzambe Azam Malamu, which translates God is good. He will be joined by his friends Sophia Faida and Abraham Tusimi. His song that he is performing, he will perform in Lingala, which is Crispin's third language of the 5 that he speaks. Here is Crispin and friends for your listening pleasure. Crispin.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to be here. And I'm here with my friends. This is Sophie. This is Abraham. And I'm so grateful to be with you here. As he just mentioned, the song is in Lingala, one of the widely spoken languages in the capital city of my country, the Democratic Republic of Congo. So it's about how good God is in my life. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it together with us. Nzambe za malamu, Nzambe za kitoko, Nzambe za malamu, motema nangae kobosana te, motema kobosana te, bolamu ya Nzambe na bomoi nanga, ngolu ya Nzambe na lipota nanga, Nzambe za malamu, Nzambe za kitoko, Nzambe za malamu, Nzambe za kitoko, motema nangae Kobo sanate, motema kobo sanate, kola moya zambe, na promoy nanga, bitumba zambia bundelio, zala rekonesa, zambia za marapu, zambia za kitoko, zambia za marapu, zambia za kitoko. Oyo zo bundela yore, ye alala kate. Oyo zo longisa yo, Zambia limba kate. Oyo zo bundela yore, ye alala kate. Oyo zo longisa yo, Zambia limba kate. Yanga motema, motema yanga motema yanga motema, yanga motema nangaza la kimya, motema nangaza, motema nangaza la kimya, motema zala kimya, bolamu ya Yesu etondi, bolamu ya Yesu etondi na motema nanga, epesinga loyemba motema, etondi na motema nanga, esalinga mutu ya motuya, hey, motema nanga zala pose, hey, motema zala kimya, hey, motema, hey, kobo sana te bolamu ya Nzambe, hey, motema zala kimya, hey, motema nanga, hey, kobo sana te bolamu ya Nzambe, hey, motema nanga, hey, motema zala kimya, hey, motema. This is how we dance in our country. We have our own personal dances that we do in our country, and we love to dance. Hallelujah. Banguna bakamwe yo. Waposa wanyoso papa salelingaye. Banguna bakamwe. Bazomo na nyoso papa salelingaye. Nakoma mwana Nzamboyo. Hey, motema hey. Motema nanga zala kimya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Crispin Mahuna and his friends Sophia and Abraham. You're really getting the program going. Our servers will begin shortly to bring the rest of our food. We have about 40 minutes for eating and conversation at your tables. And I will call us back together at 6 o'clock. Bon appetit. The Arthur H. Vandenberg Award for International Understanding, Respect, and Cooperation is very special to the Greater Lansing United Nations Association and to MSU International Studies and Programs. It is in fact the top award for GLUNA. This award is given in the name of Arthur H. Vandenberg, the United States Senator from Michigan from 1928 to 1951, who in 1945 announced his conversion from isolationism to internationalism and led his fellow Senate Republicans to support the creation of the United Nations and the United States membership in it. The Greater Lansing United Nations Association with Michigan State University Studies and Programs presents this award to Dr. Terry Taylor. Terry is a proud Michigander and a lifelong resident of Traverse City. She earned her medical degree at Chicago College of Osteopathic Medicine and then interned at Riverside Osteopathic Hospital in Trenton, Michigan. The university, MSU College of Medicine, she joined the faculty in 1986, and the university has supported her research efforts throughout the past 35 years. Terry Taylor has dedicated her career to Africa's most terrible disease that infects so many people in the global South. In 2020, there were an estimated 241 million cases of malaria worldwide, and of those cases, 627,000 infected people who died. The World Health Organization African region reports that a lopsidedly high share of global malaria occurs in Africa. In 2020, Africa was home to 95% of malaria cases and 96% of malaria deaths. Children under 5 account for about 80% of all malaria deaths in the Africa region. These widespread deaths and impairment of children survivors of malaria across Africa has heightened the importance of the breakthrough that Terry, with research in Malawi every year for 3 decades, her Malawian partners and visiting students have made in focusing on the swelling of the brains of infected infants and children, subsequently opening the door to new early interventions to save lives and avoid mental impairment of thousands of child survivors. My friends, join me in celebrating Dr. Terry Taylor as the 2020 recipient of the Arthur H. Vandenberg Award. Terry, please come up. I'd like to read the award. It says International Studies and Programs, Michigan State University and United Nations Association of the United States of America, Greater Lansing Chapter, present the Arthur H. Vandenberg Award for promoting international cooperation. Terry E. Taylor, D.O., October 23, 2022. We have invited Terry to share with us this evening some of the learnings from her outstanding career. Terry has titled her talk, Global Health, Expanding the Overlap Between Top-Down and Bottom-Up. Congratulations again, Terry. Please share your words with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. It is an honor to join the ranks of many personal heroes, Senator Stabenow, Dave Wiley, Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, as recipients of an award honoring the global vision of Senator Vandenberg. As we've heard, he drastically modulated his worldview over the course of his career as a senator, which is a real life example that old dogs can learn new tricks. And I would like to hope that this can resonate through the US Senate currently. This is an honor that has everything to do with Michigan State University and a similar expansion of its worldview. We started as a land grant university, and now we are a world grant university. I would like to frame the work in Malawi by describing it in the context of the tension between top-down and bottom-up approaches. This tension has existed in the world of development broadly writ and has been a preoccupation of mine from my early days. And in global health in particular, top-down focuses on conducting targeted research and using high-tech approaches. Bottom-up relies on building a broad base of health services that address community needs and social determinants of health. The top-down and bottom-up approaches in this story were the visions of two very different, highly influential men. Mike Magan was the founding dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine at Michigan State, and I ended up in his office in the spring of 1982 looking for a lead on a job anywhere in Africa. I wanted a gap year between my internship and residency, and he wanted to support a group of MSU PhDs working in Sudan. He also had a vision of having an MSU COM faculty member living and working abroad. So despite my protest that I was just looking for an adventure for a year, he offered me a job in the Sudan as part of a faculty development activity. Off I went, and I was hooked. I could appreciate that basic elements were missing from our understanding of those diseases, and that the research was addressing critical questions. And for the first time, I could imagine how the infrastructure required for a research activity could help to embellish the healthcare generally in a country. In those days, though, there was really no established route into this kind of biomedical research, and the US programs that did exist were sort of short-term courses in tropical medicine. But one program offered a research project in the field as well as the didactics. And so I applied to the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine and was accepted. And before I left, I stopped by Dean Magan's office, and he said, okay, if you come back and you have a research project in a developing country that would be hospitable for our students on elective, I will give you a job. So off I went again. And as luck would have it, I was sent to Malawi for my research project. My mentor was Malcolm Molyneux, who was a new junior faculty at the time at the Trop Shop, we called it. He'd spent the previous years as the principal specialist in internal medicine in Malawi and was revered there. When I arrived at the Trop Shop in the autumn of '85, he was looking around for a niche in research. So he came out to supervise our projects in Malawi. And while he was there, he called in at the Ministry of Health to inquire about their research priorities. And at this point in time, there was no research in Malawi. The Ministry of Health told Malcolm that severe malaria in children was their top priority. And I immediately began lobbying him to develop a collaborative activity. And within a few weeks, we had the support of the PEDS department and the Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital. We did have a few linguistic glitches though, because I was under the impression that we would be studying cerebral malaria and that the drug of choice was quinine, and he kept referring to it as cerebral malaria, and the drug was quinine. He gave it according to a schedule. I gave it according to a schedule, back and forth. And I thought we were bantering. And then he said, Terry, we could pronounce these words your way, or we could pronounce them properly. Even though I was a neophyte, though, I knew enough to realize how important it was that we were working on a nationally identified priority. So I came back to Michigan State in August, and I told Dean Magan that I'd met all of his criteria, but I said, I need to be there for the malaria season, 6 straight months every year. He immediately said, no problem. So we started with seed money from Michigan State, $5,000, and from the Wellcome Trust, £5,000. And we were off in this kind of classic top-down, science-driven approach. Meanwhile, back in Malawi, Malawi's first president, who had been installed at the time of independence in 1964, was at his zenith. An American-trained physician, Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda, known universally as Kamuzu, was quirky. So opponents were threatened with being thrown to the crocodiles and sometimes died in mysterious car accidents. And yet there was a benevolent side. He visited a different hospital each Christmas. So that hospital would normally spiff itself up. But when he came to Queens, one of only 2 obstetricians, Malawian obstetricians in the country, dared to show him the overcrowded conditions at our hospital. And Kamuzu did not imprison him, as many had feared, but instead donated the funds required to build a whole new spacious wing for his women. Politically, he stayed a friend of South Africa throughout the whole apartheid regime, but crucially for Malawi, he held equally steadfastly to his conviction that healthcare for all was a right, and he resisted all of the structural adjustment policies that spread across sub-Saharan Africa starting in the 1970s and going on to the 80s and 90s. One popular approach was to cut social services, including healthcare, and he didn't do it. There have been 5 presidents since Kamuzu, and despite repeated requests from multilateral organizations, free healthcare for all remains a pillar of the system in Malawi. Kamuzu also supported establishing a medical school in Malawi, and the University of Malawi College of Medicine, which is now Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, was established in 1991. Meanwhile, back at our top-down research front, we were slowly establishing a presence in the Department of Peds at Queens. Initially, we built a diagnostic capacity in the pediatric accident and emergency area, which served our need of identifying research patients, but was valuable for screening all of the other sick kids for malaria parasites and anemia and low blood sugar. And then after 5 years, we built a research ward which serves our study patients as well as non-study patients who benefit from more assiduous nursing care. So although both the research ward and the lab were developed to support research activities, both have benefited the larger entity of the Department of Pediatrics. We spent about 10 years doing detailed observations at the bedside in the research ward, but then we hit a wall. We had an idea of why these kids were dying, but we couldn't prove it based on purely clinical observations. Our hypothesis was based on the clinical picture preceding the deaths. The child would begin to have irregular gasping respirations and then stop breathing altogether and die of a respiratory arrest. And one of the common causes of this clinical picture is known as herniation. Here in the US, Malcolm referred to it as coning. And what happens is that the brain just becomes too large to be contained within the skull. And when that happens, the only place for it to go is out through the foramen magnum here at the base of the brain. But unfortunately, when that happens, the part of the brain that controls breathing is impeded and there's a respiratory arrest. We thought that was what was happening, but we had no way to establish it. Per the textbooks, though, it was easy to identify herniation or coning at an autopsy. You could actually see the impressions on the brain caused by this process. So we decided to embark on an autopsy study. Meanwhile, back to Malawi and its fealty to the bottom-up approach, the faculty in this new College of Medicine was predominantly non-Malawian to start with, but it would change as more Malawians graduated. In 1986, though, or 1996, when we were starting the autopsy study, there was only one Malawian pathologist, and that wasn't going to work because we needed to do the autopsies quickly, and we had to be able to do them 7 days a week. So with support from the Fogarty International Center, we trained another Malawian pathologist, Dr. Steve Kamiza. He's now a pillar of the Department of Pathology in Malawi, and there are 8 pathologists in Malawi. Now, this is another example of how a research need was harnessed to expand local capacity. After 10 more years and about 100 autopsies, we'd learned a lot about cerebral malaria, but to our immense disappointment, we hadn't seen any evidence of herniation. So at that point, in 2005, we decided that we really needed neuroimaging to see inside the skull throughout the course of the illness, not just at the point of death. And we needed to be able to look at kids who survived as well as those who died. And of the imaging options, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, was most suitable for us. And so the charismatic and forward-thinking chair of radiology then at Michigan State, Dr. Jim Pochin, went to work and somehow persuaded General Electric Healthcare to donate an MRI to us in Malawi. This machine was an absolute godsend, and we were able to show beyond a shadow of a doubt that the cerebral malaria deaths are strongly associated with increased brain volume and herniation. They were definitely herniating. Our interpretation of the discrepancy between the gross autopsy findings, which didn't suggest herniation, and the MRI findings, which did, is that the very practice of the autopsy, in which the brain is removed after the skull is lifted off, was obscuring the actual finding of interest. This relieved the pressure that was forcing the herniation. So without the MRI, we never would have caught the parasite in this particular nefarious act. So from the outset, we made the MRI available to the other patients at Queens. In fact, only probably 15% of the MRIs were done on research patients. Given all of the healthcare challenges facing Malawi, would acquiring an MRI have been on the wish list? Probably not. But a technology which, again, supported our research project became a boon for the population at large, and it was great for the medical education in general. Meanwhile, back on the bottom up front, by the time the College of Medicine was 20 years old, finally the ranks of Malawian doctors in Malawi is becoming palpable. And for us, one of the most significant of these was the director of the National Malaria Control Program. When we first started in the mid-'80s, the person in charge was a Malawian who'd had her medical education outside of Malawi, and her primary focus was climbing the ladder of international organizations, not the healthcare of her fellow Malawians. There then was a long period where the head of the NMCP was a hilarious, colorful woman, but she'd come from the world of social work, and she'd been assigned to direct the NMCP because there wasn't anybody else. So fast forward to 2014, when the first College of Medicine graduate assumes the reins. He's well-trained, well-informed, well-organized. He harnessed the healthcare system that was initially established by Kamuzu and pushed rapid malaria diagnostic tests paired with effective oral treatment out to the periphery. So humble health surveillance assistants now are the first line of defense against acute malaria illness, and this approach is working beautifully. The number of kids presenting to Queens with cerebral malaria has dropped drastically. So here's the current state of play. Dean Megan's top-down vision of a research project in a developing country has been realized and has been sustained in the context of the bottom-up healthcare system insisted upon by Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. He and his successors have been faithful to his vision of free healthcare for all, despite advice and entreaties from all manner of external organizations. In parasitologic terms, we have a mutually beneficial symbiosis. The overlap between the top-down research project and the bottom-up approach of a publicly funded national healthcare system has resulted in a win-win situation. And one of my favorite Chichewa proverbs fits in here. It is Mutu umodzi susanza denga, which translates to one head cannot hold up a roof. And it refers to how one goes about building a mud hut in Malawi. And the hut and the roof are built separately, and then the roof is lifted up and carried over and placed down on the hut. So Mutu Umodzi Susenzadenga is a great teamwork proverb. I would like to pay my respects to Malcolm Molyneux, who passed away last November, and to Dr. James Pochin, James Pochin, who passed away this summer. In fact, I just attended his memorial service earlier today. It is a stretch to link this story to the theme of this year's gathering, Nourishing Peace, but I will say that it has been a great pleasure to be able to sustain our activities over all these years in Malawi, a small island of peace in a continent studded with upheaval. And it has been a delight and an honor to further Michigan State's goal of being a world grant university, and to be part of a process which has harnessed the best of the bottom-up and top-down approaches. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What an amazing story. Hey, one more time, let's thank Terry Taylor. Congratulations. You know that Dr. Terry Taylor traveled down here from Traverse City to be with us this evening. And our second performer, Sinji Mavima, has come to us from Toledo, Ohio. I don't know about you, but their extra efforts to be here makes me feel like we're pretty special. Well, Sinji Mavima is definitely special. Born in Zimbabwe, he is now assistant professor of history at the University of Toledo. And Sinji is a poet, a writer, and a musician. He's published 2 poetry anthologies, a novel, and released an album and several singles. This evening, he will share with you 2 spoken word pieces. My friends, please welcome Sinji Mavima.
Good evening. So, a couple things. The first thing is, earlier conversations when I was invited, we had said 2 poems. Later conversations, I said 3, but they are rather short. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 2 pieces. Then if you like them, you tell me to do a 3rd one. And I'll also say this, man, to, thank you so much for this incredible event. However, this one little glitch, you can't feed the artists before they perform. That's why there's the romanticization of the hungry artist, right? Because it's a real thing. Because now I'm like, All right, let's go. So last night, I walked with the devil. He who since Genesis has been the nemesis of mankind and I walked hand in hand last night. And he said to me, Shingi, I know we don't always see eye to eye. Yes, it flows within my veins to kill, destroy, and lie. But tonight I'm gonna take a minute to boast. So we began our travels coast to coast over the land that I love the most. We started off at the southernmost tip, the continent's joy and pride, South Africa. For decades, this enfranchised us by apartheid, but now standing apart as the continent's molten pot. But all the thought, for in a flash I heard a brother got shot. It's a shame, for the same place I proclaim as the world's prime, has developed as the world's prime for crime. So we went over to the north, coming forth into Zimbabwe. Once Africa's breadbasket, now no longer the case, now merely just a basket case, and face the fact that we gaze upon a place where inflation has risen at a world record-setting pace, and the people do their best to get through their days and enjoy. But what can we possibly tell them when 85% of them are unemployed, when they see the cause by the time is too empty to fight? You get the drift, right? That's when the rest of the night, as we marched over into the beautiful Republic of the Congo to the mystifying sound of the bongos, it is hard to digest that an Eden so fine, blessed with diamonds, worthy only of King Solomon's mines, has played host to the world's deadliest conflict since the world wars. It's like evil's flogging my continent on its back, and we're down to all fours and we're crawling into Nigeria where tensions boil, brother against brother, sons of the soil ripped onto opposite sides, ready to kill and die over oil. Feet away from Cote d'Ivoire and Libya, where little done and much is said, we watch as the blood sheds, and it's hard to hold high your head when you waist deep in rivers of blood red. And from where I stand, I hear the man say, yes, you can. Wish I could look at the man back home and tell him, you too, man. But the sound of my voice is drowned by the Janjaweed running havoc over Sudan, and there's another baby is ripped from a mother's womb over Darfur. I scream to the beast, enough, devil, show me no more. So we walk away. We walk away from a paradise where in parts, a woman born is more likely to be raped than to learn how to read. In other parts, still, child soldiers have killed dozens by the time they end their teens. And in other parts, even AIDS has reduced the average human life to less than 30 years. And I love to say I'm tough, but today I'm down on my knees. Even though I'm overseas pledging allegiance to another land, I've been crying and praying for my sisters and my brothers and family and friends still residing in the motherland. Then I get up and I face the beast. Say, devil, why do we have it the worst? Why have you made this beautiful black skin synonymous with cursed? Why are we living in death, and why is Africa the hearse? And he looked at me and said, Shingi, I told you I'd boast and I'd love to take the blame. All the same, let it be said that humans should be twice ashamed for the guns in children's hands, the raped women, the wars and conflict that caused your continent to bleed. I could never sustain the fire if it wasn't sparked by human greed, gluttonous seeds planted by those who you watch as they feed, corrupt politicians who equate money with the opportunity to lead. And as another baby starts to death, I hope you're proud of yourself. You've been the death of your fellow men, and the devil didn't even have to help. Thank you. All right, so that's one. Here's another one. That one is called Last Night. This one here we call The Wrong Sun. The wrong sun, as in the wrong solar system, so to speak. Now I lay my head to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, and dear Lord, allow me to reiterate that last part, because this blood that we spill hits the ground and pumps straight to my heart. Just yesterday, we buried two of our friends, ages 12 and 10, ages when life's supposed to begin. How do we explain to the world that our lives start when they end? We can't. We don't even write letters back home anymore. These little broken bodies we send. We were thrown into the fire the moment our eyes caught sunshine, ripped from mama's breast and thrown straight to the front line. We still don't get it. It's a sick joke with no punchlines, except that every sunrise, the gunfight ominously announces that it's crunch time. Give us this day our daily bread. May our tears flood the plain and drown our daily dead. And with that being said, may our prepubescent arms never tire from carrying this AK-47 that we don't mean nobody no harm. So if we have to die today, we pray, send us straight to the playgrounds of the realms of heaven. Forgive us our trespasses, for really have none, except maybe being born under the wrong sun, forced to destroy homes from the get-go, knocking down houses like Legos, but our consciences haven't fully developed yet. So the next kid who steps to me, I'm obliged to give the death blow. And the world has the nerve to question how I'm feeling. Your very words curse my very nerve and condemn how we murder children. But if you wear these shoes, all these bruises, you'd understand this isn't a life that anybody would choose. So God willing, eyes here filling, I get to see my enemy's body bullet-ridden. See, these aren't just children, these are villains we're killing. So chilling, villages ransacked, so we're living in squalor. We're so far gone, it's not a home no more, it's more like a funeral parlor. And we're supposed to be men of valor, so we never cringe or tremble. And if you remember, I told that I went to the devil, but I tell you he was 9 and his chest was strapped in metal. They put him up on CNN. AC360 called him a rebel. But those who watch never see the struggle behind their wedding bands. The same finger with the ring on it pulls the trigger on us. Still here we stand. screaming, waving mutilated limbs, bullet belt weight, pulling us down onto our knees. Our life, real life, your damos might be forever, our lives are not. Please do not do this. And God bless the general. And if I have to die today, grant me a decent funeral. For thine is the glory. These guns have the power, and the rich get the glory forever, forever, ever. I pray not. Amen. So tell me this, have I earned the right for a third? All right. Thank you so much. By the way, I'm here, I've got copies of my book, which is a biography of my time spent in Zimbabwe. It's not so much a biography, but it's my experiences there. And I talk about the community. You can come talk to me afterwards. I have a few copies of it. And I would love to share that story with you. Right, so this last piece is a little less, political in that way. But I think it's something that rose to prominence as we went through the lockdown era, and realizing that every time we gather like this, right, there's folks here who only see each other on this occasion, and it's until next year. But it became more apparent to me, as it probably did to a lot of other people, that we're not guaranteed to see each other again, right? So this one centers around a Shona phrase, which the phrase itself is Icho. I want you to say it with me, Icho Torah. Icho Torah, which means here it is, take it, right? In case you never see me again. If the next time we meet, my being has succumbed to the fleeting seasons and they have bid me to sleep eternal beneath the weeds, I need you to sleep easy and keep breathing, remembering these words, these visions I've scripted especially for you. Continue to walk in power and truth. Do not let the drudgery of the hours corrupt or consume you. And should you find it in your heart and choose to, walk away and walk tall from the beaten path you're used to. Dream big, peaceful, pleasant, bleeding, reckless, winning, shaken, weak and strengthened. Dream a life so full to the brim that when you wake, you make twice the memories as you live your dreams again. Search not for a love that does not hurt. Love because it does. Do not weep for what it could have been. Sleep serene for what it was. Seek not to explain people. Love them just because. And in the midst of the inflamed embrace, here's the scars. But if they don't reciprocate the love that you show, keep showing it. You catch them uprooting the seeds that you sow, keep growing them. They pour water over your soul, keep glowing them. And should you ever find yourself going through hell, well, keep going then. And on the morn of the forsaken storm, I promise I will hearken to find you. Whenever you may march into the great dark, take heart, I will never stray far, keeping watch right behind you. But in case you never see me again, if the next time we meet, my being has succumbed to the fleeting seasons and they have bid me to sleep eternal beneath the weeds, should you ever turn back, learn that my spirit has teamed up with the grim reaper scythe, I leave you never. I live forever. Seek me deep within these words. These are treasures I leave you with. Icho Torah. Thank you so much.
We have been reminded of how much we have to do to continue to nourish peace. And we have been encouraged to not give up and to continue our work. Thank you, Singi. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. At its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs for short. Pictured in your program booklet, you'll find them towards the middle. They are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing in a global partnership. Our global goals, local leader awards, are given to people whose accomplishments move our world closer to the benchmarks set for the SDGs. Their efforts have often started before the SDGs were even conceived, but without whose efforts we would have started even further away from the envisioned targets. Each of tonight's global goals, local leader awardees are truly amazing people from right here in our own Lansing area community. Let me introduce you to our first recipient. I have often heard Barbara Roberts Mason's name and even met her on a couple of occasions. But when I had a chance to read her biography in preparation for making this award, I could only think, I don't know 3 people combined who have done all that she has done and accomplished in her life. She is really amazing. 2 roles that she has held stood out for me. Barbara served 25 years as an elected member of the Michigan State Board of Education. And she has served over 20 years as president of the Lansing Regional Sister Cities Commission. And under her leadership, the commission is recognized as world-class. During her long career, she has been a social worker, an educator, a TV show host, a nonprofit organization founder, a world traveler, and a humanitarian. Barbara Roberts Mason, throughout her life, has increased opportunities for African Americans and for women. Early on in her career, Barbara's strong moral stance with the Michigan Education Association opened the doors of the MEA to a diverse staff and leadership at all levels that continues today. Another example is the nonprofit Black Child and Family Institute, founded by Barbara in 1987, that brought a focus on educational, health, and economic needs of families and children. With the introduction of a foreign language and culture program, the Institute nurtured a broad global perspective for its participants. Now called Building Child and Family Initiatives, Inc., the organization continues to offer quality programs for children, youth, and adults, and Barbara stays involved as president emeritus. As I said, she has done the work of 3 people, and I could go on and on about her accomplishments if only time allowed. What I would like you to do, though, is to, again, look at the chart of the SDGs. Her work has encompassed many of these. We are talking about SDGs 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and 11 at least, and probably more. It gives me great pleasure to present a Global Goals Local Leader Award for 2022 to Barbara Roberts Mason. Barbara?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I like to look over here.
Vanity.
Wait, Bob.
One more up close.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I just want to very briefly say thank you to Guna, not just for the award this evening, which I appreciate so much, but because I have known Dave Wiley, I want to say almost all my life. And I have called on him many, many times over the years to work with me, whether it's with Sister Cities, BCFI, or whatever the organization has been, and he's always come through. I think I saw John Metzler here, oh, right there. And I want to say thank you to him as well. This has been a wonderful organization and a really wonderful evening. I have friends here. My sorority president, Natavia, is here. Many family members are here, one of whom used to be on the board, I believe, Adam Alansari, and members of the Lansing Regional Sister Cities Commission, Sergio, and others who represent the commission. It's been a long time since I became involved in international issues. And I'll tell you when it all started. My sister's here, and she may remember that when we were little girls, we would go into my mother and father's bedroom, and on the floor, there was a sea of blue. And on that blue linoleum, that's my next book, it's going to be called Linoleum. On that linoleum, there were sailboats. And I would sit on the side of the bed as a little girl, and I would get on those sailboats, and I would sail in my mind. I would sail all over the world. We were so young that Popeye the Sailor Man would sail with me sometime. Those of you who are my age and remember Popeye. But we would sail all over, but little did I know, as I was going from one country to another and sailing that linoleum on the floor as a little girl looking down, that those sailboats would lead me to evaluating schools in Germany or comparing schools in Korea, China, and Japan. Little did I know that I would be spending time in Ghana, Cameroon, Benin, Nigeria, with various projects. And little did I know that I really would be working on those sustainable goals that we've worked on through the years in Ghana. Willie and Maxine know that we worked on health and hygiene. We put in latrines and wells. We built clinics, libraries. We just have done so much work, and we worked on women's empowerment. We trained hairdressers and market women to be entrepreneurs, to be self-sustainable. We did a lot of work, and it's not just me, it's all those who were working with me, Maxine, who else is here from the commission, Willie, Eugene, and my sister Gloria, who never said no when I said, would you go with me here or would you go with me where? She was always there. So I just want to say thank you to them. And Terry, you mentioned Dr. Pochin, and so often I would stop by his office on campus, and he told me all the things that you were doing in Malawi. And I would just say, oh, if I could only do some of those things that you were doing, because they're just marvelous, and the lives that you saved, just tremendous. And it's just so wonderful. Well, they were still working. I'm still not 28 anymore, just the opposite, 82. But I'm like you, I keep going, as they say, keep going. And I just called Dave this week, by the way, that's why I'm mentioning this, because we have 2 containers full of items from McLaren Hospital, ready to go to Malawi and Ghana. All we need is $17,500 per container. So if any of you out there want to write a check or know somebody who would like to write a check, we have wonderful hospital equipment and supplies all ready to go. All we need is more money than I have in that purse by that table over there. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Luna, for honoring me. I am most, thank you so much.
I would walk to the stairs over this, so
Thank
they can use the railing. Thank you and congratulations again, Barbara. Now I would like to invite our GLUNA Board Past President, Lynn Bartley, to the stage to present the next Global Goals Local Leader Award. Lynn, there you are.
Thank you. Joan, I would like you to be up here with me while I present the next Global Goals Local Leader. Come on up here, Joan Nelson. Because yes. All right. Congratulations. Joan Nelson worked on global goals at the local level long before they were adopted by the United Nations. As a co-founder and then executive director of Allen Neighborhood Center, ANC, for 23 years, she created and led programs that addressed poverty, hunger, good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, gender equality, and partnerships for the goals. Her dedicated leadership, don't make me cry. I'm gonna cry. Her dedicated leadership and persistent determination led to the growth and breadth of services that are currently provided at ANC, which you can read about in her amazing bio in your program. And I really hope you take those programs home because they are inspiring. Joan Nelson is an inspiration. One coworker described Joan as the definition of servant leadership. Others who know her well said Joan is an amazing team builder, a collaborator, diligent and tenacious, a visionary, and she brings people together. I heard many stories from those close to Joan and will share a few that I think illustrate some of the qualities that she brought to Allen Neighborhood. Joan addresses issues creatively and makes them happen. As an undergrad, unsatisfied with the content of a class, this is why I wanted her up here. So she got her prof to allow her to design her own curriculum, right? Later involved in the women's movement, Joan studied martial arts and opened a studio offering health and self-defense classes. Joan is open to challenges and promotes gender equality. She was once first mate on a small commercial fishing boat in the Florida Keys. Also in the Keys, she tended bar for a while. Come on over here. I just love this story. She tended bar for a while, and I was told she waited on Truman Capote. Right?
I did.
Joan, as you retire from ANC, you leave a deeply meaningful legacy that will continue to enrich and improve the lives of residents at Allen Neighborhood and the greater Lansing area. We are very, very happy to honor you for your dedication, years of hard work, and building SDGs locally. Thank you, Joan Nelson. Thank you. You're welcome. Let me give you that.
Thank you. Thank you, GLUNA members, for this really extraordinary honor. Now I have to get out my notes, although after watching Crispin Mahuna go through 3 pieces without consulting notes, I'm almost embarrassed to pull these out. That was amazing. Thank you. So it really has been my great privilege to work with East Side of Lansing neighbors and stakeholders and institutional partners for the last 25 years on community improvement projects, on neighborhood crafted and neighborhood driven strategies to revitalize Lansing's East Side, It's been challenging, it's been rewarding, it's been fun, and time has flown by. And there are three major learnings that I'd like to share with you from this last sort of quarter century. You know, the first is that we learned the value over the last 20 or so years of working simultaneously across program areas. So we were focused on housing improvement, on health access, on food security and food access, on commercial corridor development, on youth development and senior support. We found that allowed broad engagement of our community around diverse and yet clearly related issues and challenges. So comprehensive and integrative community development seemed to work for us, at least on the East Side. Other people just considered us kind of an ADD outfit. Secondly, you know, we found great success in focusing on what the neighborhood sector piece of the solution to chronic social problems might be in dealing with poverty, food insecurity, poor health outcomes, lack of affordable and healthy housing in the northeast quadrant of the city. Solutions are usually generated by government of all sizes, and often those solutions focus on individuals and on families. We see the neighborhood, the East Side neighborhood, as the next largest social unit past family, and one which allows closer observation of the way in which those chronic social issues play out across the block, across the streets of the East Side. We have learned over the years to whenever confronted by a challenge or an issue, to ask a simple question: what is the neighborhood piece of the solution? So for instance, in 2004, we had just done a study that found a food insecurity rate of 29% on Lansing's East Side. And we, cast about trying to figure out what would be an appropriate response, a neighborhood specific response, and came up with a neighborhood farmers market. At that time in the region in 2004, there were 2 municipal markets, downtown Lansing and Meridian. We had no idea what a neighborhood farmers market might look like, but we were game to try, and it's continued to grow over the years, and it's now a year-round farmers market serving people from all over the region. So we know that our piece of the solution, the neighborhood sector, can't do it all in solving these, in addressing these social issues, but it can be an impactful and an important component to solving complex problems. And then finally, the neighborhood center has been an intensely place-based outfit. We see ourselves, and have from the beginning, as placemakers, and have focused intensely on the northeast quadrant of the city, called Lansing's East Side. But even given that, we have reminded ourselves constantly that we stand shoulder to shoulder with people all over the world who are doing comparable work around food and health and housing and whatnot. And in recent years, in the last half dozen years, we have partnered with MSU International programs that have brought women from Africa, women involved in food and agriculture, to the neighborhood center for periods of time for mutual exchanges. And it's also allowed several ANC staff to spend a few weeks in Africa visiting these women, visiting their projects, deepening friendships, and learning so much about what people are doing the world over to create sustainable, healthy, connected communities. These experiences have been life-altering, as you can imagine, leading to cross-cultural friendships and deepening our understanding of shared values and goals. And it's this last learning, this last piece, that makes tonight's award so meaningful, in that it acknowledges global goals and local solutions. So we are very grateful. Thank you so much, Lynn. And I want to acknowledge at my table close friends, Ron Ritson, Mike Marhanka, David Schwanz, Debbie Nolan, but also two board members of Allen Neighborhood Center, Mary Miner, as well as Rick Kibbe, who back in 1999 was one of the co-founders of Allen Neighborhood Center. So again, if you have a chance to talk with these folks afterwards, please do. They're a wealth of knowledge. And I thank you again for this award.
Congratulations again, Joan, and thank you, Lynn. For our final local Global Goals Local Leader Award, I'd like to invite up Hakan Yildiz, our Secretary of the Board, to make the presentation. Hakan.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased and humbled to introduce Tahsin Sardar. I personally feel honored to have known him for several years and consider myself very fortunate to be able to call him a friend. Those who know Tahsin would attest to the fact that what I will tell about him does not do justice to him. Not just because he does so much, he also does much without people knowing about it. So it will be only God that would be able to know all he has been doing. So I pray that God be pleased with all Tahsin has done for the community and humanity and bestow him and his family with blessings. I'm not sure how Tahsin manages to volunteer so extensively for numerous causes, including social justice, civic engagement, climate action, supporting refugees, and interfaith dialogue. Tahsin volunteers extensively in outreach efforts to bridge his own faith community with the larger community and to foster a spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. In that effort, he led a major fundraising program to secure solar panels for the Islamic Center of East Lansing and for the neighboring University Lutheran Church, promoting harmony, mutual respect, and climate crisis action. The $50,000 raised was shared equally as a gift from the Islamic Center to the Lutheran Church as a challenge gift for the solar panel system. The University Lutheran Church plans to pay it forward towards a similar sustainable development goal. Both houses of worship now have a 20 kilowatt system on their rooftops. Tahsin is continuing his fundraising efforts to add more panels to the Islamic Center with the goal of attaining self-sufficiency. Tahsin was a founding member of the City of East Lansing's Citizen Innovation and Technology Panel and serves on the community advisory boards of the Michigan Muslim Community Council and East Lansing Info, and is a member of Action of Greater Lansing and of Capital Area Michigan Interfaith Power and Light. He currently serves as a board member of the Islamic Society of Greater Lansing, Michigan chapter of the Council of American Islamic Relations, Greater Lansing United Nations Association, and Peace Education Center of Greater Lansing. He is also a commissioner on the City of East Lansing's Human Rights Commission. Tahsin lives in East Lansing with his wife, Huma, and Huma is with us tonight, and I'm sure she deserves a huge credit with all Tahsin does. So give a round of applause to Huma as well. Tahsin consistently plays a prominent role in helping our local area reach the United Nations global goals in many ways. Tahsin is a role model and inspiration for me, for my children, and for our local community. Please welcome Tahsin Sardar.
Thank you, Hakan, for sharing so many nice things. I don't know if all of them are true. I'm truly humbled. I'm grateful. I would say I'm undeserving, but that may come across as being not grateful. So why I say that is because there are giants on whose shoulders I stand, and the path that has been paved by people who've dedicated their lifetimes, they're the sources of motivation for me, and I'm simply trying to follow their footsteps. Between the Terry Links of of our community, to the Barnhards, to the Metzlers and Barclays, I'm just trying to follow the footsteps. So thank you everyone for the great motivation. And I'll be remiss if I did not acknowledge the Hazlitt Community Church that actually kindled the fire in me to move on this project. When they reached out to me and they said, the green team, I should say, they said, hey, you live right next to the University Lutheran Church. Why don't you guys together do a joint project? So I have to acknowledge for the motivation that they have inspired me in this front. And last but not the least, all it takes is for each and every one of us to take up upon ourselves. You saw the 17 SDG goals that Barnhart touted which is on the flyer, on the brochure. Each one of us could embrace one or more of those. And I'm sure many of you are already pursuing these, but do not underestimate the power of persuasion, of having conversations. It's 2022, but we have climate change deniers. It may be hard to convince them, but it's upon us to change the hearts and minds of people. So let's take it upon each and every one of us and try to make this world a better place for all of us and for our children to come in the future. Thank you very much.
Was I right? Are these some amazing people? Let's hear it again. Barbara, Joan, and Tossin, thank you so much for all that you have done for our community. And thank you, presenters. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired after all these wonderful awards and the people that we have listened to, but we even have more. But first, I would like to invite back Crispin, Mahuna, and friends, and they will sing a song called Give Hope, also written by Crispin. And it's a nice, quiet song. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. Can you please a little bit of volume? Give hope. Stand for someone in life. Pray for someone in life. Give someone hope in life. Hope, stand in life for someone. Stand for someone in life. Pray for someone in life. Give someone hope in life. Yeah, stand in life for someone. Oh God, we need you. In this world in which we are living today, there's a lot of things going on. Many people are living in fear because the future seems to lose its shape. The rumors of war is everywhere. Global warming is also following us. Many people are starving across the globe. We need to act. Stand for someone in life. Pray for someone in life. Give someone hope in life. Stand in life for someone. Stand for someone in life. Pray for someone in life. Give someone hope in life. In life, stand in life for someone. In some parts of the world, people are stuck. They have nowhere to go and no one to turn to. Some are starving from sunrise to sunset, when others are sleeping on the floor. Then I ask the question, who will be there for them? Who will stand up for them? And who will be their voice? Can you be the one? Maybe I, or all of us. Who will be the voice of the voiceless and speak for those who cannot speak for themselves? Oh God. Who will be alive? Who will bring peace? Bring peace. Who will bring peace and give hope? Give hope to the world. Who will bring life? Who will bring peace? Who will change life and give hope? Hope to the world. Hope to all of us. We need hope. You can be the one to bring hope to others. You can raise up your voice to speak for those who cannot. Thank you so much. And may God bless you.
Thank you, Crispin, for that challenge. We are all challenged each day to give hope, to give life. Our final awards this evening are for global education. And here to explain the awards and make the presentations is John Metzler, Vice President for Global Education. John?
What a wonderful event this has been so far. I'm truly inspired, and hopefully we'll be further inspired by switching directions a little bit from from achievements of wonderful elders that have inspired us to the young people who inspire us today as well, and will walk in their footsteps in the future. Let me get my cheat sheet out here so I can move along, so we can keep on time. As is clear from the program tonight, outreach is central to GLUNA's mission, as it is for all of UNUSA. All chapters are tasked with the goal of generating a clearer understanding of the UN's invaluable work, and in promoting support for the work of the UN. A key component of our outreach mission is our endeavor to work with the K-16 community, educators and students in encouraging global competency and understanding, and more specifically of the work of the UN and the central importance of the Sustainable Development Goals, which we have celebrated so far this evening. One of the most visible and enjoyable examples of GLUNA's connection with the K-16 community are our annual Global Education Awards that highlight, affirm, and celebrate educators and students who have demonstrated a clear commitment to global understanding and competency. The first of our awards tonight is the Global Educator Award, where we celebrate an educator that throughout her or his life has really shown and demonstrated a commitment to promoting global understanding and global competency among their students. It is my privilege to present the Global Educators Award tonight to someone who's richly deserving of it, but it's also been a friend for almost 3 decades now, Dr. Nancy Lubitsky. Who, by the way, I didn't put this in my notes, was a past GLUNA board member before she departed the Lansing area for her current position as superintendent of schools in the Huron's Intermediate School District. Dr. Lubitsky joins a fraternity of past awardees, each of whom have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to preparing students to be critically engaged and informed global citizens. In the case of Dr. Lubitsky, this commitment went beyond her direct classroom work when she became a school principal and later a district administrator, to include programming and active support and encouragement for teachers to increase their own global competency and commitment to work with their own students. Dr. Lubitsky's global engagement began upon her graduation from MSU when she joined the Peace Corps and was placed in a school in Tunisia. She returned to the Lansing area and began a more than 2-decade connection with the Lansing School District, first as a teacher, then as assistant principal, and then later as a principal. And this is all prior to her district-wide appointments at Three River, and then currently now the pinnacle, a superintendent of her home, going home to the thumb, the Huron School District, Huron Intermediate School District. While teaching here in the Lansing school area, Dr. Lubitsky was able to pursue doctoral studies at MSU, culminating in a Fulbright funded dissertation that took her to Malawi, where she focused. So Malawi is being feted tonight, and rightfully so. To do a dissertation on special education, on assessment of special education programs in Malawi. Throughout her career, Dr. Lubitsky demonstrated a strong commitment to global education as a classroom teacher, as I said, as an administrator. In addition, she has been an active member of Lattice, which is one of our co-sponsors tonight, starting when she was a graduate student, then as a teacher and an administrator. And she currently serves as our Lattice board president. As I said, I've known Nancy for a good long time, and it's really a pleasure to be able to present this, both a certificate and a small check as in recognition of your incredible work, and as you will continue, I'm sure, in the Huron area.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Metzler. I thought I was off the hook when he was talking about younger people earlier. And then he mentioned 3 decades of work in the area. So yes, I'm older. Thank you. But I've had a unique journey because I started out on a small farm in a small town. And from there, as Dr. Metzler mentioned, I went internationally. And then I've actually made full circle and come back to my home community where I grew up in. And I'd like to thank all of my supporters in the room. All of you are my teachers and the educators that I've been so very fond of over the years and aspire to be like you. Dr. Wiley, you're one of them. I remember some very interesting courses that I took from you. So thank you. Dr. Metzler, you're another person that I've shown and chosen to admire over the years. And many other colleagues that I've seen in the room. And also that one of the more important teachers in my life have been my parents. So you can see them over here, and I'm hoping they're not cracking jokes right now, but It's been very nice. So as I mentioned, and Dr. Metzler mentioned too, I was in Malawi, and while I was in Malawi, I realized the importance of education living abroad. And I realized how very important it was from very early on when I attended country school all the way into Malawi, when I was tasked with trying to solve some of the problems that we have and really develop a fuller understanding of what's happening around the world. And I lived there over a year, and at the end of the year, I realized that I really didn't have any other solutions. And I don't need to, because it's not about me. It's all about building teams, establishing relationships, establishing connections, and learning from each other. And that's what we've developed in this local area too, with our students in our schools, with our adults. And we continue to work with parents and many others in the community, pushing education, really promoting education and knowledge, because that really is the key to the future and to the peace that we're all achieving and desiring to achieve. So I can't stress relationships enough, personal connections, and just all of us working together to achieve that higher goal that we're aspiring to. But thank you all tonight for recognizing me. I appreciate it. And I think there's many others in this room that are just as deserving as I am. So thank you all. Thank you.
Now we come to the next generation. Yeah. You are considerably younger than I am, Nancy. Now we come to the student awardees. Well, we've had as many as 2 recipients in the past year. It's unusual for us to award 3 students in 1 year this award. However, given our commitment to encourage student engagement with Model UN clubs and competitions, and to acknowledge students who have demonstrated their commitment, it was not a difficult decision for us in GLUNA to affirm and celebrate the commitment of 3 student awardees, each of whom were nominated by teachers who have in the area who have a long-term commitment to building support for the UN and Model UN. So we're going to do these awards alphabetically, and our first awardee is Elizabeth Beer, Elizabeth graduated this past spring and is currently undertaking a gap year in London. And she's asked her UN advisor and world history teacher, Mark Pantoni from East Lansing High School, to accept this award on her behalf. Each student will get you'll notice that Nancy got a framed award. We could have framed the award, but we thought college students would be easier if they were in a folder. They don't have to put it on, they can stick it in a edit every once in a while. And each of the students gets a check for $500. Let me quickly read 2 paragraphs from Mark's letter of nominating Elizabeth for this award. Elizabeth has won top awards as a delegate to Model UN, but her contributions to the club go further and make her a worthy candidate for the award. She has developed numerous training videos and presentations for her fellow students. She was co-president in the 2021-22 year. Under her tutelage, the East Lansing Model UN Club had its best year in memory at several conferences. She was instrumental in helping raising funds, as we needed over $20,000 to sponsor the travel and to make sure that no student would be excluded due to financial hardship. Her most compelling contribution, however, is her steady leadership as our club grew from just over 8 students when she started to over 40 students this year. Bringing many students together with a wide range of challenges, anxieties, and talents is not easy, but Elizabeth's calm approach to problems made my year as club advisor a breeze. Mark is here, and he has a few words that Elizabeth has shared from afar.
Thank you. When I heard about this award, it was automatic who I would nominate. I asked Elizabeth to send a couple words to you, and I could have written them because I knew what she was going to say. All of all the credit went to her classmates, her teammates. She is just one of these students that doesn't come along every year. She wanted you to know that while she's in London, she is doing an internship with the Labor Party, so everyone can relax. And she'll be back to start her career at the University of Michigan next year, go blue. One last little story. Last year, a student said to me, Mr. Pontone, why is it that when Elizabeth walks in the room, you go, beer? And I had to actually think about it for a minute. And I knew why. I said, you know, when I was in college, I was working on my PhD at Michigan, and professors called us by our last names because they said, you're our colleagues. And I realized Elizabeth was one of those students who was a colleague. She pushed me as much as I pushed her. And they said, oh, we just thought you liked yelling beer in high school. But she really is a remarkable woman. She's got a great career ahead of her, and this recognition, I'm sure she will treasure. Thank you very much. You want me to get this to her?
Yes, yes.
Is this the one?
Just make sure, yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Can I? Oh,
Do you want a picture of me?
sure. Elizabeth wants a picture of you, I'm sure.
Oh, wait, we should at least open it.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
Mark shared with me tonight, by the way, that he has been involved with Model UN, not only here at East Lansing High School, but for the past 30 years. So he is a true 53. I'm sorry. Wow. That's as long as I've been an educator. Could I ask Ann Wade to come up with the two students from that she nominated, please? Ann is a longtime supporter of GLUNA and a longtime Model UN advisor at Williamson High School. And she nominated two of her star students from last year. And I've asked her to actually, she's the one that nominated, she knows these students best. And she, as an educator, deserves the honor of saying a word to them. And then we can present jointly the certificates.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tonight. It has been a wonderful night. I am so honored to be up here following in the footsteps of so many other leaders. And I'm looking forward to the leadership that Elizabeth Beer and Emily Preston and Kayla Turner will bring in the future. I love my job. I love working with young people. I love seeing them problem solve, think outside the box, think globally, not locally, but also locally. Both of these individuals worked to build our Model UN program. 2 years ago, when we were in the height of COVID, they both attended online conferences and they debated and they deliberated and they worked with students they were only talking to virtually. And then last year, we kind of had to rebuild the club because we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. And we had these freshmen who were just babies and they had no idea what we were doing. And these two leaders worked together. And let me wait, I guess I'm combining both of them together, but Emily, I've known since birth, and Kayla, I met 2 years ago on COVID. She had moved here from the Cayman Islands with her family and had never been back, and then jumped into Williamston and was a model leader right from the start. And so building the program up again was a big challenge to take on. And they rose to that challenge. They had a training conference where we had at least 30 delegates last year. They developed a background guide. They worked with all the students to work on their position papers. They promoted our club within and without. And when we went to our conferences, they both won numerous awards at every conference we went to. And so we have several pictures on our website to share that with all of you. But they're great people to work with. And I have been so blessed in this job because they are amazing and their parents are amazing. And I thank you for letting me be a part of their lives for a brief amount of time. And I look forward to having them both up here someday so they can share with you their experiences in Malawi and wherever the world may take them. So thank you so much.
Let's see. We're doing this alphabetically, so Emily is next.
Congratulations, Emily. You're so.
Emily, congratulations. By the way, Emily is a freshman at Lyman Briggs College here at Michigan State University, and she hopes to study to become a physician's assistant.
I just want to say a quick, huge thank you to everybody here. It is such an honor to share this microphone and have my voice be heard among all of the amazing people who've spoken tonight. You all inspire me in a way that I don't think I've ever been inspired before, and I cannot wait to see where this will take me. I want to give a huge thank you to Mrs. Wade. She is just the best Model UN advisor I could have ever asked for, and working with her and Kayla has been such a pleasure. My last thank you is to my parents, who have made unimaginable sacrifices and have helped in so many ways. I would not be here if it weren't for you guys. Thank you.
And Kayla?
Just because he didn't say it, Kayla's at that other school.
Oh, yes.
And studying political science, right, Kayla?
Yes,
All right,
yeah.
so.
I also just wanted to say thank you so much to Glenna for hosting this event and also for sponsoring me, Emily, and everyone else here. This has been such a touching evening, and I've been so glad to share it with you all. Thank you to Mrs. Wade, who's been a teacher and mentor for the past 2 years and who really helped me get to be where I am now. Though I don't know where I'm going to take my career, I hope to work in the international sphere, and I have Model UN to thank for that, as well as my parents. Emily, for helping me build the program the past year. I couldn't have done it without you. And thank you all.
Thank you, John.
Thank you again very, very much. Inspiring. A couple of them will be in Malawi before you know it.
Thank you, John, for leading this portion of the program. Appreciate it. With young adults like Elizabeth, Emily, and Kayla, and with the guidance of educators like Nancy Lubeski, I see hope, promise in the future of our world. Let's give them another round of applause, please. And our more seasoned generation of local leaders, Barbara Roberts Mason, Joan Nelson, and Tassin Sardar, have given so much throughout their lives, and I expect will continue to do so as long as they are able. Let's hear your appreciation for these Global Goals Local Leader Award winners again. Our musical performers brought such thoughtful creations to us this evening, gave us a lot to think about and a lot of challenge for us to make this a better world. And I expect that they will continue to share such ideas, thoughts, and emotion with others. So join me again in thanking Crispin and friends and Singi Mavima. I suspect that you, like me, stand in awe of the dedication and expertise of our Arthur H. Vandenberg Award winner, Terry Taylor. She has demonstrated through her life-saving career so much. Join me again in a grateful round of applause for Dr. Terry Taylor. With the challenges that we are aware of, we do offer you this opportunity this evening, 2 opportunities to nourish peace through charitable giving. Sustainable Development Goal number 2 is zero hunger and is a very obvious way of nourishing peace. Thus, we invite you to give to the Greater Lansing Food Bank, which supplies food pantries and other hunger fighting agencies in 7 mid-Michigan counties. A good night's sleep is an important part of meeting SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Mount Hope United Methodist Church is supporting Crispin's effort to provide mattresses to refugees in Uganda, where he once resided. You can make a check out to the church and note at the bottom, give hope. Cash gifts are of course accepted as well. Please place your donations in one of the 2 donation boxes that will be near the exit. And we do thank you for considering these donations. I also need to put in a shameless plug for GLUNA in our coming attractions. We have a thought-provoking Human Rights Day program planned for Sunday, December 4th. So watch for your email for more details on this. Also, you will have an opportunity to hear from some of the Humphrey Fellows that I introduced tonight during our Humphrey Fellows Spotlight in January, which is titled The UN and SDGs Around the World. Again, watch for more details on this opportunity. And finally, if you enjoyed this evening's event, and if you are not already a member, I encourage you to join the Greater Lansing United Nations Association. Your membership makes a statement that you believe in the work of the UN to build cooperation between nations and nurture a more peaceful world. Stop by our display table and talk with Mary Flores, our VP of Membership, before you depart this evening. Now feel free to stay a while, mingle with other guests, and I thank you, and may you nourish peace in your life and in the lives of others. Good night, everyone.